Hey everyone, TheAngryHoneyBadger here, and today we'll be taking a look at a build and guide for Ekko. At the start of this video, we'll discuss his abilities, what they do, and what order you'll want to max those out in. I'll then go over his runes and masteries, followed by counters to look out for, along with champions he does well against and champions he synergizes well with. Finally, we'll look at items you'll want to consider purchasing while you play Ekko, and look at his pros and his cons. Be sure to like and subscribe if you find this video helpful, but for now, let's dive in and look at the boy who shattered time and everyone's health bars.
Go around the badger.
As for Ekko's abilities, let's start out with his passive, Z-Drive Resonance. Ekko's Z-Drive charges his spells and attacks with temporary energy. The third hit deals bonus damage and saps the target's movement speed. If the target is a champion, Ekko gains accelerated movement speed himself. As for your first point, we'll put that into your Q ability Time Winder and max it out first. Ekko throws a temporal grenade that expands into a time distortion field upon hitting an enemy champion, slowing and damaging anyone caught inside. After a delay, the grenade rewinds back to Ekko, dealing damage on its return. At level 2, we'll put a point into Ekko's Phase Dive, which is his E ability. We'll max this out second. Ekko rolls evasively while charging up his Z-Drive. His next attack deals bonus damage and warps reality, teleporting him to his target. And at level 3, we'll put a point into his W, his Parallel Convergence, and max this out last. Ekko splits the timeline, creating an anomaly after a few seconds that slows enemies caught inside. If Ekko enters the anomaly, he gains shielding and triggers a detonation, stunning enemies by suspending them in time. And finally, we have Ekko's ultimate. Ekko shatters his timeline, becoming untargetable and rewinding to a more favorable point in time. He returns to whenever he was a few seconds ago and heals for a percentage of the damage received in that duration. Enemies near his arrival zone take massive amounts of damage. For this build, we'll be looking at AP Ekko. So for his runes, I recommend Magic Penetration Marks, Health per Level Seals, Magic Resist Glyphs, and Ability Power Quintessences. For his Mastery page, I suggest running 21 in the offense and 9 in the defense. I can see you also running 9 in the utility tree, but in the defense is a little safer early on. As for champions that counter Ekko, let's start out with Malzahar. His ability to silence and lock down Ekko from using his ultimate as an escape tool or for damage makes Malzahar a favorable pick. Next is Cho'Gath. With tankier stats and good sustain while laning, Cho'Gath finds even more power against Ekko with a silence to disrupt his engagements and a true damage ultimate to punish aggression from Ekko. Finally is range. Game statistics show that the later the game goes, more Ekko ends up losing. So by playing a ranged farmer and not getting into any confrontations in lane, you'll actually keep him down from getting kills, and he'll eventually fall off in the mid and late game. As for matchups that favor Ekko, first is Orianna. I've personally played this one as Orianna a lot, and her ball's range starts to get you into trouble when you go to harass. He also will jump onto you and bring the pain. Next is Azir. Azir can have some good harass on Ekko, but Ekko can punish him before he gets all 3 abilities learned. Ekko can also push hard early with Flask, which is annoying for the mana-heavy Azir. Finally, we have Zed. He should be able to farm fine with his shurikens from distance, but he can't really go aggressive early because he'll be punished by Ekko's passive. Zed will likely miss out on killing Ekko with his ultimate, since Ekko can just use his ultimate to basically negate the damage. As for champions that synergize well with Ekko, those would include Vi, Rek'Sai, Bard, Gragas, and Gnar. Champions that can help Ekko engage and quickly deal with targets enhance his assassination potential. Also, teams that cause scrappy, chaotic, spread out fights can help Ekko pick off solo targets better. It's much more efficient for him to do that than to get caught up in crowd control messes. As for the items you'll want to consider picking up when you do play Ekko, at level 1, you'll want to start with the Crystalline Flask and Health Pots. I find this start to be safer, and you can harass more with it in lane over a Doran's Ring. Your first few trips back to base will want to start picking up the pieces of a Morellonomicon. The cooldown reduction and low cost of the item, along with its mana regeneration, is very key for an early game on Ekko. From there, I'll typically start to try to pick up the pieces of Azonia's Hourglass. You can bait people into your ultimate a lot easier with your stasis. It almost guarantees them coming into a trap. The next item I tend to go towards when I'm playing Ekko is a Lich Bane. The movement speed will help with your assassination potential, and when you dive in, the passive from the Lich Bane will help with your burst potential. At this point, I make sure that I pick up my Magic Penetration boots, and then I build towards a Luden's Ekko and a Deathcap. As for optional items you could definitely pick up, if you wanted to drop out the Luden's Ekko and pick up a Void Staff, this will help you with more penetration, and if they have a magic damage heavy team, picking up an Abyssal Scepter can actually work on Ekko quite well. Just make sure you don't get it in situations where the enemy team won't have a lot of magic damage. Moving on to pros and cons, let's start out with his pros. He has a very powerful passive that makes short work of his opponents. He has good escape and engagement with Phase Dive. He perhaps has the best disengagement ult in the game. Don't Chase Singed is now Don't Chase Ekko. He can just one-shot you by ulting back. He has an AoE stun if positioned correctly, and he has huge single target burst. As for the cons, he can eat through his mana by casting too much. Before your first item of Morellonomicon, his cooldowns are lengthy. Scale's fine, but doesn't transition into late game teamfights as well as other champions. Using your ult in defense kind of sucks for your damage output. He's an assassin, so he's pretty squishy. He's not necessarily hard to play, but he's difficult to master. Not everybody's Faker. And as for my closing thoughts on Ekko, I personally like him as a champion. I think he's a great addition to League. Another bursty, kind of quick moving mid-mage is pretty helpful for certain balances against other champions, to be honest. I think that is a good thing to have in the game. It creates diversity. Some of the changes to him recently, at least tweaks, are going to be helpful too, to kind of keep some of his power focused on where it should be. And it just overall, just tweaks and you know, things back and forth are always a good way. This is one of the reasons why Riot does such a good job with League, is they make these changes to champions to fix them. Obviously, that's why we get so many patches. But another thing I think people need to take away from Ekko is that he doesn't excel outside of 25 minutes within the game. That's important to note, because if you don't really have anything going for you, I'm not saying you can't get anything going for you, but it definitely becomes a lot more difficult. You're probably going to want to do the split push thing and only make sure you get into 1v1s or maybe 2v1s or 2v2s. In a big team fight, it's not like he can't excel, but it's just not a great place for him typically. Everything really needs to go pretty well or pretty right, at least if you're going to be building full AP. If you're going to take him in top lane and build, you know, a little bit more defense, or build him and do a kind of a tank jungle Ekko, it is possible, but I think you can get the most benefit and impact from a full AP Ekko. So just make sure you look out for the big team fights, play them correctly, don't just dive in and go ham and die, or have to ult out to not use any damage in that case. But try Ekko out, he's definitely fun. If you like assassins, he's going to be a great addition to play within the game. And other than that, good luck on the fields of justice. I'll see you in the next build video.